Okay, it's 9 a.m. in the morning. I got some good sleep. I'm not sure how much I got, but I did get more than I normally get. Just about stepped on the cat when I got out of bed. We've got a cat, Dee Dee, black cat. Um, she doesn't really make good, it's tons of people love cat and dog and animal things. There's nothing about her that's that's interesting, really, except to us. Um, I've never mentioned this before. Uh, she has skin that grows off of her body. I mean, skin, flaps of skin. They're attached. It's not just fur. Well, it's fur, but it's skin. And it just happens. Sometimes there's a time, in between, even a lengthy time that, uh, but then eventually it drops off. And she's had it now she has, I mean, it's really uncomfortable to her. And the vets don't know what it is, and they've never seen anything like it, apparently. But it grows, and then eventually, in fact, even now, there'll be a smaller piece of her. You'll see a thing of fur on the floor, but it's skin, skin that it's come off. So poor Dee Dee, she's such a, such a good cat. Um, at some point, a while back, which I was surprised. Well, she loves to be petted, especially by me. Now she's really my son's cat. She's just really attached to him. But sometimes she wants to get away from him. And of course, Darlene loves the cat, worries to death about the cat. But Darlene's in a wheelchair, and then Darlene gets really upset because she has to worry that Dee Dee will be wanting to eat, and she'll be so. But right now, for the last few days, in the past, I've used I guess it's anyway, it has a little nodules on it, claws on it, or whatever, to pet Dee Dee, and she loves that. And then I've used other little, not broom. Well, I've used a broom actually. She'll be laying on I have arthritis really bad. It's difficult for me to bend over, or that kind of stuff. And I've used a broom, and she loves that. I'll be careful, and she loves that. And recently, like also now, like for my laundry basket, when I go do the laundry, when I get that, she runs. She's I think one time I acted like I was going to put it over the top of her or something, and she didn't like that. But recently, I turned on the vacuum cleaner, which makes a lot of noise, and I took slowly over to her, and I, told her, Dee Dee, everything's okay. And then I didn't put it, where it would suck the skin. I did the edge of it all over her body, above her body. And she loves it. It must feel really, really great to her. Really good. And she loves it. So now she's been spending a whole bunch of time in my room, and there's one certain spot that towards the head of my bed, over this way here, that's where I've used the vacuum cleaner the most often on her, and that's where she's laying to let me know, do it more. And you can just, when I pet her, like she jumps up on the bed occasionally or whatever. When I pet her, I can tell that she, that she feels uncomfortable with what's happening, what happens to her body with those tabs of skin growing, and she feels when they finally fall off, she's just so happy, and so it really makes her miserable. And she doesn't cry or anything about it, but anyway, now she's wanting me to use the vacuum cleaner on her, the edge of it, the edge of it, lay the edge on it, and so you're getting that suction, and it must make her feel. I know it makes her feel really good. So, you might let me know. I'm willing to stick with it if the Roku TV. It's a small one. It's a 760p, which I can tell. Darlene has a big screen TV. I don't know how big it is, but it's big, and it's just a few feet from her bed. So. But the Roku, really, this one, I don't know about it because I never watch. I hate the shows that she watches all the game shows. Of course, I mean it's in the dining room. Well, it's in the dining room, which is where Darlene sleeps. It's not like we have a TV in the living room, or anything. So the only time I see her television is her Roku, is when I'm going, which is often, through the dining room into the kitchen to get something to eat. And she watches the game shows over and over again. And then she watches a whole bunch of, she watches TV all the time. And she has the worst taste in TV. In fact, I really can't stand any of it. It bothers me. I'm not into anything where there's, like torture or killing or, whatever. I mean, it's just, and that's the kind of stuff that she, likes. I guess she likes some other stuff, but that stuff, So, but the reason I put the Roku TV here, and I've set it up, and it's always the same situation. I put it up for a day or two, and then to hell with it, But I do think the YouTube videos that I make, where this is in the background, and where you're seeing maybe me, because it'll, maybe there's a YouTube video of me in the back, or like I pulled up BBS the documentary and have it playing in the background, and you could see it or whatever. I'm going to remove this. It's slow. Like changing the channels to the thing. It's just so slow. And I'm not really into. I mean, there's movies that I have liked, and there's movies that I do watch occasionally. It's usually things that I've seen before that I watch that, well, like the UK TV thing of Derby Girls. I've watched that dozens of times, and there's other things I end up watching stuff that I've seen before, not new stuff so much. But if you tell me, no, please leave the Roku back there, because, I like seeing what's on there behind you, because I try sometimes to coordinate it, if I'm talking about a TV show, the raccoon guy or something, I try to it's something rather than watching me that's in background. You can see the thing. So I'll put it back if several of you are really happy watching that. Otherwise, I'm going to put it, because when I want to get to a different channel, it just is so slow. And we have high-speed internet, which I'm thinking of trying Verizon again, because the spectrum, I'm paying a lot of money. I think $100, and I'm not getting any cable channels or anything. It's just high-speed internet. I think the latest thing on Donald Trump is, well, there's something. I think the latest thing is that I saw one or two reports that, like, he can still be impeached. By the way, we know that, a president who is no longer president, but who has been president, he can be impeached. So now it's not going to happen because the House of Representatives that has to start the impeachment is controlled by his people who are Republicans who are mentally unstable, and they're members of our government, the House members, and there's some in the Senate. So he's not going to be impeached, but he can be impeached at any time. And what I didn't know, and I think probably very few of us knew, well, we knew that for the impeachment process, well, one, to be impeached, you really do not have to, the House could vote to impeach someone, say a president. They could vote because they don't like his color. They could vote. It could be for, they don't really need a reason. It doesn't have to be high crimes and misdemeanors or anything. It could just be, we're voting to, and then when it goes to the Senate, which is like the trial or whatever, information is presented to the senators, but the senators could, when it gets there, the senators could just say, well, we don't need to go through this. We're ready to vote. And they could impeach a president or a vice president or whoever they can impeach, a judge or something like that. But they can also impeach him for no reason at all, remove him from office. And one of the things they can do, and they could do it, Trump has been impeached twice. Well, he's been impeached twice. That's tried. But both times the Senate did not, remove him from office. Just like Andrew Johnson, the vice president to Abraham Lincoln, he was impeached, but not removed from office. But one of the things they can do is, when you're impeached and found guilty, they can rule that you can never hold political office or hold any office, even an appointed office. Now, I'm not sure if it sounds like it applies to all government offices. So you couldn't be, of your local town, the dog catcher or something. I'm not sure if that's the case, but I know that Trump could be impeached now again, and the penalty could be that he could never hold office in the United States. And so that's something I would like to see pursued, but it's not going to happen because right now the Republicans are terrified of Trump, and they don't want him saying anything bad about them because there's so many Republicans who are like a cult or something, like a crazy organization of people that do crazy things. So they don't want to, and they don't want him to say anything bad about them because an election is coming up. But that's a possibility that I would like to see. I like to see happen. The way things are going, Trump is trying everything he can to, and he has. and if he could be actually elected president this time, he would pardon himself immediately and probably pardon all of these traitors and people who attacked, law enforcement officers, who attacked the, Capitol security and all that type of stuff, and the Capitol Police or whatever. So it would solve things a great deal. And I think that Trump is thinking, which is a bad mistake on his part, because I think he thinks that he can win the election, and I don't think he can. When he runs again, if he can run again, and then he can, that's what's going to save him from, going to prison but I think, he can get the Republican vote, smaller and smaller part every day of the Republican voters. He can get them to vote for him. So he'll be the candidate, for the Republican Party, and Biden will be, running again as, president. Now, I'm a Democrat. If the Democratic Party wants to come up with somebody other than Biden, which would be really unusual, if they can come up with somebody better. I don't think, though, they would pick anybody that I would really like, somebody who's more liberal than President Biden is. I'd be okay with that. But there's a very good possibility that what's going to happen, because Trump will be found guilty because he's committed so many crimes and he's so mentally unbalanced. Now his cult doesn't agree, They don't agree with that. They think, oh yeah, he's perfect, the perfect businessman who's been bankrupt from every business that he's ever had. And it's a cult. Like the James Jones, religious group that went down to South American country, and they all ended up drinking poisoned lemonade because he told them to. Now, a bunch of them, did not want to drink the lemonade. And they didn't want their kids given the lemonade. But then Jim Jones's hardcore, people that were armed and everything, they made them drink the lemonade, or they shot and killed them or whatever. And this is Donald Trump's group too, not the same group, but the same mentality. So I think that Trump's thing is, he thinks that he is going to be the Republican nominee, and he will be unless something happens. And that then he thinks that he's going to win, which he would not now. And then he thinks that he can pardon himself. Now, I'm not 100% sure. I think the Supreme Court would have to rule on that. But a lot of people think, the ability to pardon, and that you could pardon yourself. I don't think so. I think even the Supreme Court with 4 hardcore, Republican appointees, 4 that are hardcore, even if it went to the Supreme Court, okay, Trump has been elected president of the people. They would do it before, I think, before he actually took office. Can the president of the United States pardon himself? I think that they would have a problem with it, even though they're Republicans, and even though they've made some of the worst decisions on the Supreme Court about things. I don't think on this. I don't think that they would rule that because it's not really spelled out. It doesn't say in the Constitution that you can pardon, the President of the United States, and it doesn't say that you can't pardon the President, that the President, But I think the Supreme Court would finally, make a good decision, one that's right and just, and I think they would say, no, you can't pardon the President can't pardon himself. But I think that's what Trump is counting on, because he knows, well, he's really stupid. I mean, it's unbelievable how stupid Donald Trump is. But I think that would finally sink through to him if it got to that point that, okay, no, I might win. That maybe he won't win, but he might think he's going to win. But if it came down to it, I think that he would think that it would be ruled that now somebody else could, if Donald Trump doesn't win, and if a Republican did win against, Biden for President of the United States, that person, of course, could pardon Trump. I don't think that any of the ones that, that's the Republicans are in a terrible position with Donald Trump. I mean, he's destroying their party. This may be the end of the Republican Party, because he's totally destroyed, right now, these people who are running for, the Republican nomination or whatever, they're hoping that Trump isn't going to say anything bad about them, because there's enough hardcore fanatics in the Republican Party right now that, they could cause a lot of problems. But there aren't enough that can get, Trump elected. So, but Trump at some point, Trump may see that there isn't any way that he could be elected, but the only problem is he's burned he's done so much, and continues to do so much that there's not much of a deal that anybody can make. Even though he's a lunatic, unbelievably stupid, and he's done the most crazy, insane things, and said the stupidest things to say, all of that. A while back, he could have made a deal and not gone to prison. I think now if you watch my videos of just a few months ago, I've said, well, I don't think he's going to go to jail. He's a former president. We don't want to be one of these countries that, throws their former president and vice presidents into prisons and that kind of. We don't want to be that kind of a country. We don't want to be a third world country. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe that's an insulting to, But we don't want to be the kind of country that does that kind of stuff. But now we're way beyond that, way beyond that. He's so, attempted to overthrow the government of the United States. He committed treason. Encouraged others to commit treason, encouraging others to commit, crimes. He said before he was elected to his only time in office, he said that he could go out in front in New York City on Times Square or in front of his building or something, and that he could kill somebody and get away with it. And that's a crazy thing to say, but back then he might have had it, because you only need one on the jury, he might have been correct. But now he's burned a whole bunch of bridges behind him, and he's going to end up in prison. Now he's not going to go to, one of our terrible, horrible prisons. I think he would go to some type of a military base, not Guantanamo Bay. Although I'd like to see him down there, But I think he'll go to some military base that's in a good good weather, facilities, and just be on the military, on the military base. And it wouldn't be as good as his golf courses, although I'm sure there'd be a golf course there. Nothing like what he's used to. But yeah, some military base that doesn't have a lot of traffic, that maybe in Alaska or something, except I guess the weather might be bad there for golfing a whole bunch of the months or something. But yeah, he's going to be found guilty, and he's made terrible mistakes about thinking that he's going to win and every day he's losing people, and he'll lose a lot more. Right now the Republican politicians, that want to get office don't want him to say anything against him, against them. So changing the subject, if you want this behind me, I'll keep it, but I'm kind of hoping you don't. I do think it's neat. Like I was talking about BBS the documentary and a video, and there was BBS the documentary running on there, in the back, not with audio, of course. Audio was muted. Okay, I've got to finish my morning Coke. I'm going to have to use the vacuum cleaner on the cat. I don't, I laid on its side, the nozzle on the side, and so it's pulling the hair, and it's, coming across the skin and everything. But I'm not, sticking it to the. So, and she's there. She's waiting now. I think she's asleep though, but she wants me to. That's something I'm going to have to do every day, X number of times a day, because she wants it so bad. And the cat is a pain in the butt to me. I have extremely poor circulation in my legs and feet, and the smallest scratch can get infected because it's not getting good blood, down there and whatever. So I have to try. And sometimes she wants to give me light love bites or whatever when I'm petting her, because she loves to be petted too by me, and especially because of making her body feel better. I think I told you that the vets have never seen this before. So anyway, thank you all very much for watching.